Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Career Path in Medical Coding. Today we'll study about the anatomy of digestive system. The digestive system, also called alimentary canal or gastrointestinal tract, begins with mouth where the food enters the body and ends with anus where the solid waste materials leaves the body, which is also known as feces. The organs of the digestive systems involves three different processes. Those are digestion, absorption, and elimination. Digestion: food material taken into the mouth must be digested or broken down mechanically and chemically as it travels through gastrointestinal tract. Proteins are getting digested as amino acids, sugars as glucose, and large fat molecules, which is also known as triglycerides, gets digested as fatty acids and glycerol. Absorption: the digested food must be absorbed into the bloodstream by passing through the walls of small intestine. Elimination: elimination of the solid waste materials that cannot be absorbed into the bloodstream. This is the simplest anatomical flowchart of the digestive system, where you can see the food enters the oral cavity, and we'll briefly study about the salivary glands, then pharynx, esophagus, stomach, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas are the three additional important organs which plays a very crucial role for the digestion and absorption of nutrients. Then comes small intestine. Under small intestine you can see the parts duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Then comes large intestine, and the parts of large intestine are cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, and at last the anus where the feces leaves the body. Oral cavity. Here you can see I have mentioned 4 to 4 6. That means the first 4 teeth are the incisors, and the function of incisor to bite and cut the food into pieces. Then next to that, one each side, those are the canine teeth. The function of canine is tearing and shredding the food. Then two next to the canine, those are the premolars, which helps in chewing the food. Then the last 3, left and right side, are the molars, which helps in grinding and chewing the food before swallowing. Salivary gland. The main function of the salivary gland is to secrete the saliva, which helps in chewing or mastication process. Chewing or mastication is the process by which food is crushed and ground by teeth. It is the first step of digestion, and it increases the surface area of foods to allow a more efficient breakdown by enzymes, and the enzyme name is ptyalin. Here you can see the anatomical diagram of salivary glands, and there are 3 different types of salivary gland. One is parotid gland, which is located nearby the ear area. Second one is the submandibular gland, which is located at the lower jaw area. And the third one is the sublingual gland, which is located down to the tongue. And the same 3 glands are located to the opposite side. And out of these 3 salivary glands, the largest salivary gland is the parotid gland. Pharynx. The pharynx or throat is a muscular tube about 5 inches long, lined with mucous membrane. Mucous membrane is an epithelial tissue which secretes mucus. Mucus is a normal, slippery and stringy fluid substance produced by many lining tissues in the body. It is essential for the body function and acts as a protective and moisturizing layer to keep critical organs from drying out. It serves as a common passageway for air traveling from nose to the windpipe and food traveling from the oral cavity to the esophagus. In this diagram, you can see this nasal area is known as the nasopharynx. This oral area is known as the oropharynx. This area is known as the hypopharynx. This is the larynx. Here is the esophagus and trachea. And in this diagram, you can see hypopharynx is nothing but it's a triangular muscular tube. This is the trachea, which is also known as the windpipe, and the esophagus is located behind the trachea, and this is the larynx, which is also known as the voice box. Hypopharynx. The hypopharynx is a triangular tube in the throat at the bottom of the pharynx. It is the primary passage for food as we swallow. Food moves from the mouth through the hypopharynx into the esophagus and to the stomach. Esophagus. The meaning of esophagus is swallowing, and it's a 9 to 10 inch muscular tube extending from the pharynx to the stomach, and it has peristalsis movement. So here is the diagram to understand in a very simpler way what is the meaning of peristalsis movement. So this is the diagram of peristalsis movement, where the contracted area and the relaxed area is there, and through the contracted and relaxed area the food bolus is moving. Food bolus is nothing but the combination of the chewed food and the saliva. So this is the way the food enters the mouth, and which passes through the esophageal sphincter by getting contracted and relaxed, and at last it gets entered into the stomach. Food passes from the esophagus into the stomach. The stomach is composed of an upper portion called the fundus, a middle section known as the body, and a lower portion of the pylorus, ring of muscles called the sphincters, which controls the opening into and from the stomach. The cardiac sphincter relaxes and contracts to move food from the esophagus into the stomach, whereas the pyloric sphincter allows the food to leave the stomach when it has been sufficiently digested. Folds in the mucous membrane lining the stomach called rugae. The rugae produces enzymes and hydrochloric acid. The anatomical diagram of stomach. So this is the esophagus, esophageal sphincter. The folds inside the stomach is known as the rugae. This is the stomach area, and this where it gets attached to the small intestine's first part. This area is known as the pyloric sphincter. Liver, gallbladder and pancreas. These are the three important additional organs of digestive system which plays a very crucial role in the proper digestion and absorption of nutrients. Liver, it's located in the right upper quadrant of the abdomen, manufactures a thick yellowish brown, sometimes greenish fluid called bile. Bile contains cholesterol, bile acids and several bile pigments. One of these pigments, bilirubin, is produced from the breakdown of hemoglobin in the liver. Gallbladder, the liver continuously releases bile, which then travels down the hepatic duct to the cystic duct, leads to the gallbladder. Pancreas, it's a both exocrine and endocrine organ. The difference between the exocrine and endocrine organ is the endocrine gland secretes its products directly into the blood, and the exocrine gland secretes its product into ducts that leads to the target tissue. As an exocrine gland, it produces pancreatic juice filled with enzymes to digest food. As an endocrine gland, the pancreas secretes insulin. Insulin, this hormone needs to help to release sugar from blood, acts as a carrier to bring glucose into cells of the body to be used for energy. Small intestine, 20 feet from the pyloric sphincter to the first part of the large intestine, and it has three parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Duodenum receives food from the stomach as well as bile from the liver and gallbladder, and pancreatic juice from the pancreas. Enzymes and bile help to digest food before passes into the second part of the small intestine, jejunum. Jejunum connects with the third section, that is ileum, and ileum attaches to the first part of the large intestine. Millions of tiny microscopic projections called villi lie in the walls of the intestine. The tiny capillaries in the villi absorb the absorbed nutrients into the bloodstream and lymph vessels. So here in this diagram you can see the parts of the small intestine. Those are duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Large intestine extends from the end of the ileum to the anus. It is divided into four parts: cecum, colon, sigmoid colon, and rectum. Cecum is a pouch on the right side, attaches to the ileum by ileococal valve. The appendix hangs from the cecum and has no clear function, but it causes problems when it's infected. Colon, it has three divisions, and those are ascending colon, transverse, and descending colon. Sigmoid colon, shaped like S, lies at the distal end of the descending colon and leads into the rectum. Rectum terminates in the lower opening of the gastrointestinal tract, the anus. So in this diagram you can see this is the appendix which is hanging from the cecum. This is cecum. This is the ascending colon, transverse colon. Coming down is the descending colon. This S-shaped area is known as the sigmoid colon, and at last the rectum. Hepatic and splenic flexure. Hepatic flexure, the right angle bend in the colon on the right side of the body near the liver that makes the junction of the ascending colon and the transverse colon, also known as the right colic flexure. Splenic flexure, the reason behind naming it as splenic flexure because it is too close to the spleen and is the sharp bend between the transverse colon and the descending colon. Spleen, the spleen plays multiple supporting roles in the body. It acts as a filter for blood as part of the immune system. Old red blood cells are recycled in the spleen, and platelets and white blood cells are stored there. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and to hit the bell icon for the upcoming videos.